Yes, people, it's your guy Michael, also known as M. Jose Cuts, and today we have another episode of Barber Talks. Guys, today I'm with a very, very special guest. I think a lot of you already have seen his face from numerous places, Barber Connect, BBC. I can just go on, but without due, the one and only Mr. Hairforce, Director of Hairforce, owner of Hairforce, Hairforce One's one and only Mr. Anderson Boyce.
I appreciate that, Mike. That was a huge intro. Thank you for having me on board, man.
How are you today?
Appreciate that. I'm very well. I'm very well. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for providing a platform for us to have this great convo. And I've been looking forward to it.
Perfect. And so obviously, Andy, I wanted to get you on board today to kind of get your perspectives on Hairforce One, the brand, your personal life story a bit as well, and a bit of the goals and visions that is for Hairforce One down the line.
For sure.
All right, so Andy, just want to start off and ask about how your morning was. How was your morning getting down there and stuff?
The morning was really good today, actually. It's a good morning, productive morning. Anytime I'm up and active before 7 a.m, it's usually a good day, a good morning / good day. So today was that. Up and at 'em before 7, and the day sort of just flowed well from there. So this was a big part of my morning, so I'm glad to be getting it done. To answer your question, morning's been good so far. Morning's been really good so far. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to have you on board. And
I'm grateful to be here. So it's amazing. I think the platform that you've created in the process of creating is a great thing, and I think the audience need stuff like this, need more things like this, because having that access to information, access to knowledge, access to people's experiences, it's kind of where we are nowadays. It's helping a lot of people, so well done to you for creating the platform. Well done.
Thank you.
Massive.
Guys, I just got an official stamp from the one and only. See that?
I stamped it, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you, appreciate it. So Andy, I just want to start off in terms of knowing a bit about you before we dive into Hairforce One.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know a lot of people have asked about who is Anderson, who is he, but it's a bit different with the questions I have. And a lot of people have also given their insights for these questions as well. So to start off with, I want to kind of take it back and kind of know, how did your barbering journey begin, or when and where?
Great question. It's a very long time ago now. Barbering started for me when I was 12 years old. My mum always been a bit of a hustler. She's always worked in like the legal profession. She's retired now, but when she was working, she was always working in the legal sort of field / profession. So she always used to side hustle. She used to do, as a lot of women of colour back then were doing aunties' hair on the weekend, different aunties, different wearers. So she had a hair thing going on the weekend. So one fateful weekend, she came in with a pair of clippers. She was only ever doing like weave and braids and those kind of things. But for some reason, this weekend, she came in with clippers. And those clippers came with a VHS video cassette on how to cut hair, and like for your audience probably won't. They haven't got a clue what a VHS is.
Why are you going to do that for?
They ain't got, but for those of you who don't know, that's what we used to watch stuff on. It's the big cassette tape. We used to put it in the video player. We used to watch stuff. So she came in with a video and a pair of clippers, and this video had nothing on it that was relating to us, relating to our hair type, relating to what we do in specific, but it was enough. It was just a video on how to cut like type 1 hair. I remember the boy that was getting a haircut, he had this massive fringe, and it was very old school, very, very old school, but it was enough. It was enough to plant a seed in me, and I just ran with it from there. That was it. That was the start of my love for barbering. That was age 12. So throughout secondary school, cutting and messing up friends' hair, friends and family hair, just practice. You're messing up, you're making mistakes, but you're learning from your mistakes. Until I did that throughout secondary school up until the age of 17. where I plucked up the courage to ask for a job in a barbershop. And that's when my professional career started. So age 17. So 12 from 17, it was just me at home. 17 onwards, that's when it became a bit more serious.
Okay. It's very interesting because, you know, coming from your era and mine, you know, there's a gap in generations.
100%.
And, you know, you're from, I believe, East London.
Mm-hmm.
I have heard rumours of you being once in South.
He said
Okay, I'm not going to go into that. But
he said rumours. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just speculation.
I don't know if I say it. You might tell me why did I bring it up.
So, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm from East London. Yeah.
Okay, and you fit like that. So I believe in obviously in your time, your era, things were a lot different. There was no technology, you know, in terms of a lot of things coming up compared to now. You know, we have a lot of more accessible tools.
Absolutely.
New development tools, new things, even in that new technology, all those things.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to also know if you becoming a barber, cutting was also part of maybe survival, or was it more so a purpose?
That's a great question, and I've never been asked that before. Was it survival? Was it more purpose? I feel like it was more purpose driven. I grew up in a single parent household, but we were by no stretch of the imagination poor. I know everybody likes to sort of add that to their story. Yeah, we used to eat rice and ketchup, and now we got steak. I know everyone likes to try and do that.
Yeah, of course.
If my mum saw me do that, she'll slap me. She said, "Answer, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
That wasn't us."
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna make out that we were destitute or we were poor. It was definitely purpose driven. I considered it cool. I considered it a cool skill, and I felt like it would add coolness to my own credibility. You know, I just felt like it was a cool thing. I felt like it was cool. It wasn't. There was no other reason. It wasn't survival. It wasn't because I wasn't academically gifted. It wasn't because. It wasn't for any other reason other than it was what I wanted to do, and there was something about it that caught me. There was something about it that caught my attention pretty much immediately. And I've been fixated ever since. I've just been stuck to it ever since.
That's something, would you say that something also came from your mum's VHS records, or when she would put them on TV?
I think that planted a seed.
Planted a seed, okay.
I think that planted a seed. I think that watching that video, I have no idea. And when I leave this earth and I meet my maker, I'm sure he'll be able to answer that question. I have no idea why or what was so pertinent or pressing about that video that had me stuck, because it was a young white kid he had, like, back in the day, it was like, it wasn't even curtains, it was like this big massive fringe that came down to there, and it just sort of went all the way around. And I think the guy might have been doing a number 4 on the sides or a number 6 on the sides, and then he moved on to the top with a bit of scissor work. So it was a white client getting cut. It was a white barber doing the haircut. The hair type wasn't the hair type that I first fell in love with, although I'm in love with, you know, all hair types now as a professional. But so to answer your question, I'm not too sure what it was about that video that got me stuck. And like I said, when I'm not here anymore, I'm going to ask God that. But it got me stuck. So some 30 to 40 years later, I'm still here, surrounded by barbering and everything that it encompasses. So there was an addiction that started that day. I don't know what it was, but it lasted the test of time.
Well, I guess that kind of answers the question in terms of inspiration. You can't really say then, more or less.
Inspiration at that early point?
Yeah.
No, there wasn't none. There wasn't none. Maybe my mum, the fact that she could do hair on the weekend, maybe that was the inspiration. In terms of inspiration I used to like going to the barbershop. Most kids do. So I used to like going to the barbershop. My mum made it a really, really awkward experience because she was one of those mums that she wouldn't leave from the barber chair. She wouldn't go and sit down in the waiting area. She'll wait there by the chair while the barbers. So we know how that feels now. That's awkward. That's uncomfortable. But back then, I'd never forget that. She would never go and sit down in the waiting area while I was getting my haircut. She would stand right there by the guy just to make sure the guy is doing what he said he was going to do. So yeah, my mum sort of made it like an awkward time or an awkward experience. But outside of me loving going to the barbershop, I don't know. I can't think of any other inspiration. You know me now, Michael. I'm quite spiritual. I'm quite I'm quite driven by the universe and how it gives and how it takes. So I just think that was meant to be. There was no inspiration. I didn't have social media that I could look at, this barber, he's doing really well. Or that barber's, apart from the barbershop I used to go in, that was my only experience. So I don't think there was much inspiration. It was just something that I wanted to do.
Okay. That's very interesting. So 30 years down the line now, all thanks to the Most High, the Creator, for giving you your skill set.
Absolutely.
That's brought you this far. My question now is, through the 30 years of your barbering journey, what kind of personal challenges did you face to get to this point in your career?
Personal challenges, not professional challenges. Okay, so to get this far, which isn't very far, but to get to this point, a lot of challenges, a lot of personal challenges. I could go back as far as, so when I did say to my mum at 17, 18, around that time, this is something that I'm going to be taking seriously. I come from an African background and I was raised in an African household. So to say that you wanted to take barbering seriously back then that's not what they wanted to hear from me. No, they didn't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear that from me. So, and the Sierra Leonean community watching this will be able to, or African community in general watching this, will be able to testify to that. You tell your parents that you want to do barbering, you want to do hair, that's not what they're not trying to hear that. Mm-hmm. If you show them, we can do business, here's money,
I was going to say that.
Different.
Yeah.
It's different. But tell them, I just want to do hair. So that was a challenge in itself. That was like hitting a brick wall in itself. Then challenges within me, as in like becoming a professional, like knowing what it took to become a professional, the customer service, the people skills, the attention to detail, the ability to market yourself even before the times where social media and so on and so forth was about. All of these other skill sets that aid you in any industry, they were a challenge for me. Learning them was, because much like a lot of other people, I think I just felt like, right, I can do a fade now, that's it, I'm a barber. No, it doesn't work like that. You need to be able to talk to people, you need to be able to articulate, you need to be able to capture people and keep them in conversation. You need to be able to be somewhat of a chameleon, change colors, change stripes when you need to, adapt to different clientele, adapt to different people or bums in your seat. And all of this was a challenge. So to answer your question, I know I go around the houses, but to answer your question, many personal challenges did I face. And I think they're all worth it. I think they're all worth it, because on the other side of challenge and on the other side of adversity is always a good thing.
Of course.
Always a good thing.
I agree.
But most people will quit at the challenge part, But if you can get through the challenge part on the other side, there's always something great.
Okay.
Always.
Still on challenges, I want to now know, was there ever a point or a moment, that you almost gave up on barbering or this path?
Definitely. Definitely. I can remember one right now off the top of my head. I actually did quit. I actually left the industry for maybe, I'm going to say 2 years. A year and a half to 2 years, something like that. I actually left the industry. And I say left the industry. I stopped working in barbershops. This was obviously before Hairforce. I stopped cutting friends and family. At that point, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what decisions to make. I didn't know. So there was a time where I did leave. And you know what? Here's the power of the universe and the power of the Most High and the power of purpose. I left for, as I say, 1.5 to 2 years. But within the first 6 months, I was chilling in my friend's barbershop like nearly every day, just because I just wanted to be around it. And I was watching him cut hair. I actually didn't even know that I was missing it at that point. I just thought, oh, this is a nice environment. He works in a nice shop. I'm just going to chill with him. I was missing it like crazy. And I didn't even know it. I was going there like 4 or 5 times a week just to chill. He worked in Barking. He actually lives in Canada right now. Great guy. Stepper. Michael.
Michael as well.
Yeah, Michael.
Oh, wow.
Another Michael.
Never need this guy.
Lovely guy. Lovely guy. Hopefully he ends up seeing this. But so I just used to go and chill in the shop that he worked in because I thought, oh, it's a nice environment. This is lovely. I feel like peace here. I feel at home. But the actual truth of it is I never wanted to leave. I would miss it. That was me trying to go back to it.
So what pulled you through then?
What brought me back in?
Yeah, what brought you back in basically?
It had to be purpose. It had to be love. It had to be passion. This is an industry, like I tell the students all the time, I tell you younger barbers all the time, this is an industry that if you don't genuinely want to get over the line, you won't. You absolutely won't. If you don't genuinely want to be a success, to improve your skill set, to grow clientele, to build a buzz around your name in the shop, local area, events, the general. If you don't genuinely want these things, none of them will happen. Because it's not the kind of industry that you can sort of coast your way through and like lean on other people and I'm doing the bare minimum so I'll get by, blah, blah, blah. There's loads of sectors that I can think of that operate like that. You can just sort of like turn up between the hours of 9 to 5 and kind of get by. Barbering is not one of them. You will be left behind. You will be left behind in a heartbeat. So the thing that brought me back was genuine love, genuine passion, genuine desire and want to be a part of that industry. Again, conversation I'm going to have with the Most High when I'm not here, but he had a bigger plan. I didn't even know it at the time, but he had a bigger plan. He said, no, you can't go. You can't go because if you go, there's hundreds, if not thousands of young people that you're not going to get to engage with. And the story is bigger than what I thought. So now after having spoken to those hundreds of or thousands of young people and people like yourself, just having, even if it's just a splash of impact and adding a splash of value, way more than enough. You've just changed somebody's life. You've just changed the potential course of somebody's life. How do you quantify that? How do you put a value on that? You can't. So even at that point, when I left the industry, you know, people of faith will say, that was God calling you back because you had a bigger mission to fulfill than just skin fade, skin fade, skin fade. Skin fade is great. Being a barber is great. Of course. But having some of the impact that I've had through the academy, through some of our community projects, that's bigger. Because you're changing lives now. Like you're giving somebody belief that this can be lifelong for you. You can have a business. You can have 5 businesses in this industry. You can do what you want in this industry, but you just have to want it. You plant that seed in somebody, they'll never forget you. They're never going to forget you. So it was purpose that brought me back.
Okay. Purpose. Massive. It's massive. Again, just taking that in, purpose, even for myself, you know, as a young barber, as someone who's coming up in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's massive for me.
Absolutely.
You mentioned again, you know, your mum having that, I have to go back to these VHS records again. You know, you said your mum coming from a family household of predominantly coloured people. You mentioned how your mum's first record tape was of VHS tape of a white guy getting a fringe all round. So I had a question based off that, which was, would you say your background plays a role in how you train and mentor barbers today?
So I think that my background has played a part in how we train and mentor barbers today. I think it's played a part in how we recruit. I think based on the fact that what we do is quite niche, there aren't many type 4 specialists, if you like, that are helping to deliver apprenticeships, helping to deliver study programs, helping to deliver high caliber training and education, full stop. So therefore, we are fortunate enough to get inquiries from pretty much everywhere, north, south, east, west London, because it's quite niche. The gap that we're filling is quite niche. So it plays a part in that regard. And therefore, obviously, a lot of those type 4 inquiries we get, they want to learn and train in type 4 hair. So yeah, that definitely plays a part in how we train, or what training we give, and how we deliver it. More generally speaking, I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to say no is because the MVQ as it is, the MVQ level 2 or 3 as it is, it should be for everybody in general. Shouldn't be leaning on any one hair type. Shouldn't be pigeonholing anybody. So whether that's type 1 hair, straight hair, whether that's type 4 hair, afro hair, or anything in between, the MVQ syllabus curriculum should be, I feel, more open than it is, and a bit more inclusive than it is. So generally speaking, no, we're not, we come out of that sort of type 4 box when, you know we have students who, they genuinely want to learn club cutting. They genuinely want to learn how to cut a uniform layer on type 1 hair. They genuinely want to know how to do a 1 length cut on type 1 hair. They genuinely want techniques that are going to aid them in the hair type that they're going to be using moving forward, or working with most frequently moving forward. So we have to have more than one string to our bow, is the answer. We have to be able to say to our type 4 inquiries, yes, we can help you with that. Here's the barriers or challenges that we're going to face. Model flow is a bit less in the type 4 world. A lot of emphasis is put on fade in the type 4 world. A lot less emphasis is put on scissors in the type 4 world, and so on and so forth. But then at the same time, when we have an inquiry from someone who's not from that community and just wants to learn barbering and is most commonly or frequently going to be working with type 1 hair, we have to be able to deliver something that's going to suit their needs, and the techniques and methods and systems that's going to keep them safe in the realms of barbering. So in some senses, yes, my background does help, and in some senses, no, because we do have to still be open and be able to cater for all.
Okay, you've had quite, the fair share of different hair types, like you mentioned, from your type 4's afro to type 1's straight. So what was the turning point then, Anderson, that made you go from being a barber to now starting a training academy called Hairforce One?
So the turning point was approximately 8 years ago. And where did it come from? It came from a place of, so it's all about added value.
Yeah.
And this is why we've got some of the community projects that we've got in place today. It's all about added value. How can because I realized within me, that was a big thing for me. That's one of my big things as a barber. It was like, okay, I can add value to you. If you trust me enough to sit in my chair and give me a shot, I can add value to you. I can make you look better. I can make you feel better. I can give you the craziest haircut that you've ever wanted. So that's fine. But that value didn't go far enough for me. So that value went 2 weeks, 3 weeks until the hair grew back. And then the person needs another one. And then you got to repeat the process. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But how else can we add value? How else can I use the medium or art form of barbering through God to add value to people's lives? How can I do that? Training academy. If you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you give a man the skill of fishing,
it's for a lifetime.
It's done then, isn't it?
Yeah.
He never needs to, and he will never forget you. He or she will never forget you, which is what we were talking about earlier. So impact, value. I think that was probably one of the light bulb moments for me that said, oh yeah. So if I can help create 1,000, 10,000, a million other little Andersons, that's impact. That's value. And that's where it came from. It came from how can I continue to give? How can I continue to serve? Because that's what it's all about. It's all about service.
Okay. Impact and value. Two things I just picked up from what you said. I took on everything, but I picked up impact and value. So going back to Hairforce One now, the brand, the training academy. When did you then exactly set up Hairforce One? And again, I understand in terms of you coming from, the transition from being a barber to now, an academy founder. I understand that the transition being impact and wanted to add value, but I also want to now understand what sparked the idea now for Hairforce One. When did you set that up? How did that come about in terms of when was it specifically set up, and where did that idea come from?
Are you talking about from a brand perspective, a training perspective, or both?
I'm talking from both.
Okay. So Hairforce One is a very old idea, and it started off as some crazy name. It was like classic cuts or something bog standard and ordinary, I was going to call it. Really, really ordinary name I was coming up with. And I had a business partner at the time, and his friend came up with the name Hairforce One. And the moment I heard it, that was it. I only needed to hear it once, and then it was done. Obviously, take the spin on the presidential plane, plus the trainer, and the trainer was really popular as well. It still is, but back then, 2009 or 10, it was super popular. Hairforce Ones were super popular amongst our demographic in specific. So it was like 2 + 2. You have to run with this. You have to go with this. So that was like 2009/10. That was the birth of the brand, if you like. In terms of the birth of the training and when this whole how can I add value conversation came into my head was probably, I think, around 2015/16, around those times. And then it was just a case of, it was like building a work in progress ever since. So we birthed it in 2016, I believe, but then it's been about like just adding bits ever since, adding all the arms that it needs, adding a community presence, adding the ability to cater for any hair type, adding a suitable level of admin that can process all the documents and all the paperwork that comes with training. It was just adding those bits. Were we ready from the get-go? Absolutely not. But yeah, we've been trying to add bits ever since.
Oh, so can I be the first? I know you don't. I doubt people in different businesses do this, but can I be the first to say happy 9th anniversary to Hairforce One, or happy 9th birthday?
What, for the academy? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you. No, thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was actually, I think it was February. Yeah, I think it was February. So, no, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. It's been a great time. It's been a dream. It's been an absolute dream. And this is why we speak the way we do to our students, because there's nothing special about me. There's nothing. I'm an ordinary guy, and if I take off this shirt, there will be no S. I'm not Superman.
Yeah.
I'm not Jesus. I'm not God's gift. Like, it's just passion. It's just desire. It's just the fact that I'm a little bit bonkers about hair. I fell in love with it. I got obsessed. And that's why we've been able to achieve what we've achieved. But you've got every opportunity. He, she, whoever wants to get in, they've got every opportunity. More than what we had, than what I had. Because you guys have you're just born into a great time. You're coming up in a great time. So whatever I'm doing is not special by any stretch of the imagination, and it can be done again and again and again. So you guys just keep that in mind.
Okay, thank you. And everyone who's watching, all the young viewers as well, mix whoever who wants to start off a business or who is in the 21st century, the Gen Z they call it. I hope they're all taking notes, and I believe they are.
Absolutely. You know, they should be. Absolutely.
In regards, again, back to Hairforce One, because we're now in the whole role and spectrum of Hairforce One we're talking about right now. The transition in terms of setting up everything, how was that like? As in, what was the initial process setting up the academy? Did you have support, or was it all done alone?
In a nutshell, like, external support, no, it was all done in-house. You need support, like, as in from like awarding bodies and recruitment and potential funding and a few other things. But were we outsourcing to set up? No, it's not rocket science. You just have to really want to do it. So accreditation from an awarding body. Awarding body being either City and Guilds or VTCT. Enough want and desire to get yourself qualified in your chosen field. If it's something that you've been doing for the last 5, 10, 15 years, which a lot of barbers have, have enough about you to say, right, I actually want to get qualified in this thing that I've been doing for the last 5, 10, 15 years. Because once you're qualified in it, you can then go further, you can then upskill, you can then go into teaching, training, assessing. But without that initial conversation, you're stuck. Qualification, you're stuck. So approval from an awarding body, qualifications that you are happy with, whether it's level 2, level 3, assessors, IQA, EQA, the level of qualification that you want to reach. Obviously, everybody needs resources, you need money, you need access to funds, being able to pull this together, pull that together, get the setup the way you want it. And then a bit of recruitment after that, really. A bit of recruitment after that. I don't want to make out like it's like I've done the impossible, because I absolutely haven't. It's very much achievable, very much doable. You just have to really, really want it.
I understand. I understand. I think, bro, again, you're very modest, Andy, because as much as you make it sound like it's nothing too hard, it does take a certain level of resilience and, perseverance to push through. Because I don't want to sound bad, but they say a lot of businesses fail in the first year.
That's
and
right.
Obviously, by God's grace, you've been able to withstand the test of time.
Yeah. Amen.
And so going off that, I want to kind of go into Hairforce One, the shop. Before it became Hairforce One, the academy, how long was it a barbershop for? Was the end goal always an academy, or did it start off as, a barbershop, Hairforce One, and then, like you said, through recruitment, you then always knowing you wanted to have that impact and value, it grew then into an academy? Yeah,
definitely. The latter, I would say. Definitely something that over time and whilst traveling along the journey, you have these realizations. God and the universe reveals things to you, and you kind of know, oh, okay, so that can happen, and oh, okay, we could take that route. It kind of like with our relationship with some of our community partners, like Macmillan. I had no idea that when starting Hairforce, I had no idea that that kind of partnership could be as impactful and yield the kind of results that we've managed to get out of that relationship. We've been working closely with Macmillan Cancer Support for about 6 years now, and we've put on a range of different events, a range of different collaborations. We've again, it's all about added value. To answer your question, did I know that those are the kind of organizations that I want to align ourselves with at the start of the journey? Absolutely not. 100% not. I just wanted a barbershop, much like, you know, other people just want a barbershop. But when you take all of these things into consideration, purpose, added value, impact, legacy, when you take all of these things into consideration, it's quite easy to then say to yourself, oh, look, there's a massive homeless charity here who, if we can collaborate with in some way, we could have some impact on homeless people. Whether it's a free haircut, whether it's money for them to buy a tea or coffee, whatever it is, we could add value. Whether it's a mental health charity, whether it's a physical health charity, whether it's a school, whether it's you know, you're talking about ways in which you can add more value. So these things, for me anyway, presented themselves along the journey, whilst walking along the journey. It wasn't so much, there wasn't this grand business plan that said, right, in year 4 you're going to do this, in year 8 you're going to team up with this charity, and it was more listen out for what God wants you to do, and listen and do it.
Okay.
Listen and do it. And that was it for me. It was a no-brainer. Like working with some of the organizations we work with, starting the training academy, aiding young barbers the way we aid them. It was a no-brainer because it was all comes from the same thing, and it's just service, adding value. Like how can you just take? You can't just take. Everybody needs enough to stay alive, to house themselves, to feed themselves, to stay alive. But then you have to give. The world doesn't work any other way.
Of course.
It doesn't work any other way. So, I mean, you're giving right now, you know, creating this platform and providing some of the conversations and education for some of your younger listeners. This is a form of giving. This is a form of service. And that's what it's all about for me. If you want, you have to be prepared to give. So, yeah, it's just all about that. It's just all about giving. So did I know that it was going to end up looking like what it's looking like now? Absolutely not. Do I know what it's going to look like? Am I certain? I know where I want to take it, but am I certain of where it's going to be in the next 5 to 10? Probably not, but I will take on board any opportunities to create more added value and to change lives. I definitely will.
Powerful, Andy. In regards to, again, like you said, giving rather than taking, who was your helper then in terms of the transition from when you were just a shop? Because I understand the academy came around in 2016. The birth of the idea was maybe around, like you said, 2009. But I'm probably assuming between 2009 and 16, the barbershop Hairforce 1 was just the barbershop Hairforce 1.
Yeah.
So how did the transition come about in terms of it changing into a training institution? Where did you get the help from? How did that all run through? Was that government? How did that all work for that transition there?
Where did we get the help? We didn't get any help initially. To be honest, it's a kind of industry that the people who are the major players, they kind of keep themselves to themselves, and they don't really want to lend out a helping hand. And they know who they are if they end up watching this. All you big.
And this concludes part 1. Thank you for watching. Tune in for part 2 soon. If you've got any more questions you'd like to be asked, please leave a comment below, and also remember to share, like and sub.